Autism comes with lots of challenges in communication and sensory issues. And when we think of our journey of going to the toilet, we must be able to communicate, okay? At least when you're a small child, and also you must be able to feel and understand what you're feeling, okay? So how do we navigate all this? So that's what this video is all about. Hi there, my name is Naima Lema, and thank you so much for taking the time to watch this. If you're not subscribed yet, please go ahead and do so. Remember to like and hit the bell button so that you're notified every time we have a new video. All right, so potty training is what we're going to talk about today. Potty training or toilet training, I'm going to use them interchangeably, but simply potty training means you're introducing your child from the diaper to the potty, and toilet training, you're transitioning from the diaper to the toilet. So usually toilet training is more for the older kids and potty is all for the younger kids. For if you are dealing with kids on the spectrum, I usually recommend to just go directly to the toilet training so that you do not have to now transition from the potty to the toilet, because we do know that change is such a huge thing in children who are on the spectrum. So for the purposes of this video, I've divided it into 3 parts. The first thing is the before, okay? What you need to keep in mind when you're planning to potty train. And then the second part is the be ready. What are the things that you must have before even considering, before you making the decision of potty training. And then the third part is now the training itself, the toilet training with the potty training. So the before part, we're going to talk about, the first thing is, there are 7 things here, and then the first thing is communication challenges. Now, not all children on the spectrum have communication challenges, okay, but most of them do. And for you, as you're planning to potty train your child, make sure you are able to know where exactly are they on their communication journey. Do they have language? Do they not? And if they do not have language and speech yet, how are you communicating with your child? Okay, the visual cards, simple language, are they going through a speech therapy? Okay, so those are the things that you have to put in mind and in place before you start considering potty training. And then the second thing is their sensory issues. Do you know how your child processes their senses? Okay, and if you're a parent, you've just received a diagnosis and you do not know where to start, I have a beginner course for parents and caregivers. I will share the link on the description box. You can go and check it out. Okay, so sensory issues is huge, because when you think about it, when you feel like going to the toilet, you need to feel, okay, I want to go poop or I want to go pee. Okay, so unless you are able to feel and interpret that feeling, it really becomes difficult for you to be able to know what the hell is happening with my body. Okay, and then there are also sensory experiences in the toilet. For example, I remember my son used to be so scared of the flushing. Like if he's seated in a toilet and then you flush, oh my god, he'll run away. He will run away. Okay, so things like those are the things that you need. That's why it's the before, in the preparation of toilet training. Okay, and then the third thing is schedule. Does your child have a stable routine that you can comfortably tell, this is how my child pees, this is how my child poops, these are the times my child pees and poops? And how will you be able to know this? Journaling. As I told you, I think in my previous video, journaling. This is a data collection for your child. You're able to know, when do they pee? How many times in a day do they pee? When do they poop? How many times in a day do they poop? Okay, so the whole idea is to be able to just have an idea, how is their system before you introducing this training. Because if you're successful to mimic the system, then also your success rates are also high. Okay, then the fourth thing is the motor, like their muscle strength and their muscle power. Are they able to sit upright? Okay, or do they still have issues with their motor, with their muscles? Okay, if assuming they have issues with their motor and their muscles, toilet training may be a stretch for this child. Okay, so you may need to work first on their muscles, on their muscle strength, their muscle tone, before you consider toilet training. Okay, and then their mental development. Usually it's advised that you toilet train kids who have their mental development over 2-year-old or above. Okay, and that means they are able to take simple instructions, they are able to communicate whether using words or not using words, but they can be able to comfortably tell you, I want this, I do not want this, I'm feeling this, where you can send them around the house. That means they can obey simple instructions. Okay, so that's how you know, okay, mentally they could be ready to be potty trained. And then it's important that you know what excites your child, because it is the things that excites him that you're going to use as reinforcers to like praise him when he does, like he goes to the toilet to poop, or when he says something, he says that he wants to go to the toilet. You need to encourage that behavior, because that's really what you want them to adopt. Okay, and then the seventh thing is rule out any medical issues. Constipation is very common for children who are on the spectrum. So if your child has issues with constipation or any other medical issues, because we do know that most of these issues, most of the time autism doesn't come along, things like anxiety, constipation, what are they scared of, anything that stresses this child has to be addressed first before you start introducing toilet training. Okay, so keeping this in mind, it means you need to plan for at least 3 to 6 months before you actually start the actual potty training. Okay, because successful potty training or successful toilet training really depends on how much preparation you did before. Toilet training is not an emergency. Okay, so if you are able to prepare your child well, if you're able to prepare the systems at home and in school well, chances of success are also higher. So second step, which is be ready. So what does be ready entail? Be ready simply means that, okay, so I've made a decision to potty train my child. So the first question is, where is it going to be done and who is going to do it? Is it going to be done at school, or is it going to be done at home? If you choose that it's going to be done at school, then you have to make sure that there's one person, one teacher who is going to be dedicated during this period of training. Okay, and it's very important that whatever happens in school also happens at home. So whatever is happening in school in terms of the training, the strategies that they are going to use should be the same thing that is happening at home. Okay, then the second thing you should also keep in mind is we potty train urine, toilet train urine before we toilet train poop. Okay, and it's important that you keep that in mind so that you don't have to pressure your child so much. You do one thing at a time. And then the third thing is for boys, you toilet train them when they are seated. Okay, whether they are peeing or they are pooping. Once they've mastered sitting, pooping and peeing while seated, then you can introduce standing while peeing. And then the other thing is, especially if you're going to potty train either at school or at home, you have everything. You have the toilet seat ready, you have the enough boxes ready, you have the whole thing figured out before you start introducing this child to that training. The other part of be ready is you need to choose a time that there are no interruptions. Okay, so don't choose a time that is holiday season, for instance, when they are about to close school, or when they are about to open school if you're going to do it at home. Okay, don't choose a time where you are supposed to be traveling, or don't choose a time that maybe you're moving houses. Anything that is major that may interrupt that training should not be happening at the same time with the training. Then we go to the third part, which is now go. That means go and train this child to use the toilet. Now, when I like to think of this in two ways. There are those kids who have level 1 autism or mild level 2. Okay, so these kids can really be trained the way you train a neurotypical child. Okay, and for a neurotypical child, usually you can use the behavior training. Okay, the one that is intensive, which uses really 2 to 3 days. Okay, and then for the other kids who are the more moderate to severe level 2 and level 3, they can now use they cannot use the intensive training because it takes more time for them to be able to grasp things, and most of the time they usually have more communication challenges and also more sensory issues. Okay, the journal really comes in handy. Okay, so for the level 1, how do you train a child who's level 1 or mild level 2 and they are verbal, like they can tell you I want to pee or I want to poop? How can you tell? How do you train these children? So the first thing is on the days that now, okay, so today we're going to do potty training, make sure whoever is the lead is the one who's in charge. So on those days there's no wearing of diaper, okay, and we don't want them to wear diapers simply because we want them to feel wet when they pee, okay, or to feel wet when they poop, so that they're able to tell you I'm wet. That's really the whole idea. Also, you as an adult will be able to say, okay, this kid is wet, okay, because sometimes when they put on a diaper it's difficult to be able to know, okay, have they peed or have they pooped. Okay, so that's the first thing. So on those days, no diaper completely, okay, and then you take them to the toilet every hour or two. Every hour or two, check them, go to the toilet, check them, go to the toilet. You should have periods of diaper checks in between those 1 to 2 hours. So I should say between 30 to 45 minutes, every 30 to 45 minutes, check their diaper. Have they wet? Have they not? Have they wet? Have they not? And if you find that they've actually wet their diaper, what you do is you take them to the toilet, let them sit there. Sorry, let them sit there, and then remove that nappy, and then put on a fresh one, and then let them continue. So consistently every hour or two you take them to the toilet. You increase their fluid intake, and the whole idea of increasing their fluid intake is you want them to go to the bathroom frequently. This is the message you're passing, that when I want to go to the toilet, I pee. When I feel like peeing or when I feel like pooping, I go to the toilet. So the more frequently they feel like peeing, the more frequently they expect to go to the toilet. Sorry, we have a cock. One of my neighbors has a cock. So, and you see, practice makes perfect. Okay, so if they're going to feel frequently like going to pee, it's easy for them to also now feel, okay, right now I'm feeling, so they may either come and tell you, either verbally, or they may use a card, like a visual card, yeah, that they want to go to the toilet. Now every time they are able to tell you that I want to go to the toilet, or they use a card, and every time they go to the toilet and actually pee there or poop there, it doesn't matter how big or small, please reward them. And that's, remember we talked about reinforcement. Okay, so you give them something that they will feel like, wow, I've done this, I've been able to achieve this, and this has been my reward. The reward has to happen immediately, so that they're able to know this reward has come because of me peeing in the toilet. Like, there has to be that very direct association between the reward and them being able to pee, or them saying and them being rewarded. Okay, so you do that consistently for 2-3 days, and most of the time kids who have mild autism and those who are typical will be able to grasp that. Okay, now for our children who are nonverbal, level 2, level 3 autism, your journal comes in handy. Assuming you've been journaling for like 3 to 6 months, like being able to know these are the times my child pees. Okay, these are the times my child poops. So what you need to do is just pick those same times, and every time, assuming when they wake up in the morning, the first thing they do is pee. So that means when they wake up in the morning, the first thing you do is take them to the toilet. If they pee after every 2 hours, that's exactly what you do. You are really following their already made system. Okay, and the reason we choose this is because for them they have challenges in sensory issues, and they have challenges in their communication. So sometimes this journey may take a bit longer. So it's not practical for you to say that they are going to go to the toilet every 1 to 2 hours. Okay, it's not going to be practical. So that's why the journaling really comes in handy, because you are just going to reinforce based on what is already working for them. Okay, so you do that, And every time they go to the toilet and then they pee or they poop, please reward them. Okay, if they're able to show you a visual card that it's time for them to go, just go and remember to reward them. Okay, so that's how you really potty train a child who's on the spectrum at those two ends of the spectrum. The whole idea is, the most important is the first thing I said, the before. Make sure you know where your child is developmentally. Make sure you know the challenges that your child has, because that is what will really advise you what will work and what will not. All right, now for the night control of urine and maybe poop, that's a completely different thing. So usually what we say is, first of all, work with day, and if they are able to control day, the night one is more of a milestone. It's something they have to achieve as they grow older. Okay, we have so many neurotypical kids who bedweight up to age 5, 6, 7. Okay, so that should not really be an issue at this particular point in time when you're doing toilet training. So that, with time, as they control the day urine and the day poop, as they continue to mature and their brain continues to develop, they are also going to achieve the night urine and poop control. Okay, then the other thing I need to mention is, please do not punish a child simply because they've had accidents. Do not punish a child simply because they have had accidents. The minute you're going to introduce punishment of any form, you're building a negative relationship, and that will backfire. Okay, so what we need to do is positive reinforcement. Okay, if they do it well, you applaud them, you affirm them, you reinforce that. Okay, if they have had an accident, just tell them that next time when you're pooping, poop in the toilet. And you know, these are children on the spectrum. You really need to be patient with them. Okay, go with where they are developmentally and be very patient with them. Okay, and with time, they are going to catch up. All right, so thank you once again. If you're not subscribed, please go ahead and do so. If you like this content, remember to say something in the comment section. Let me know what has really resonated with you, and please share this with everybody else who's going to find this beneficial.